This week's secrets are coming out. The UK digital ID, Epstein files, Jamaican Prime Minister, even Harry and Meghan. The future is talking, and I'm about to reveal what it's saying. I'm David, the Psychic General, your guide through the veil of tomorrow and today. Welcome to the Extreme Wise Predictions channel. This is Answer Monday, where I take your biggest questions and look them through the psychic lens. If you want your questions to be answered, drop them in the comment sections below. And if you're new to the channel, kindly like, subscribe, and also don't forget to turn on your notification bell so that you can get notified when I post similar videos like this. Let's get into the video. First question we have Monica. Monica says, thanks for the prediction. Can I ask if the digital ID will be implemented in the UK? I am terrified of it because it will be for controlling and destroying our freedom. So with Monica's question, yes, I see that the implication or the implementation of the digital ID is going to be implemented by the UK government, and this is going to be done by, I think, the end of 2025. And I also see that going to the quarter of 2027, all this will be implemented. Is going to be fully functionable, where everybody has the alternative to use digital IDs, and it's going to be something that is going to be normal within the UK. And I see this happening. Also, when I was talking about that, I also see that there's going to be digital currency that is going to be spearheaded around the world. And I see that we are going to be doing away with paper currency in the near future. So digital currency will become a thing of the norm, even if paper currency are going to be got away with, and then we are going to be focusing on only digital currency. Let's move on to the next question. Next question, I have Live Coaching. Live Coaching say, hi David. In France, the Prime Minister was voted down because he wanted to install big savings of government expenses, and lot of protests were announced by an anonymous movement blocked everything. Can you tell me more about how France will fare economically in the coming recession, and how the government of France may put pressure on vaccination in the possible pandemic? So this question is fantastic from Love. So I already predicted that in the past that Emmanuel Macron is going to be put out of power based on a lot of crisis that is going to be happening in France. And I see this happening, that he is going to be pulled out. And I see that in the interim, when he's being pulled out of power, I see that Marine Le Pen is going to be becoming the next president in France. I see this happening, and I have already predicted about that. And I see that the banking system in France will have some issues. I think there will be issues in the banking system in France. You see, I don't see any recovery in 2025 in terms of the economy of France, actually. And if the pandemic comes, this is going to be very worse. And I see that the France government will impose mandatory vaccination for government workers or government sector workers, and this is going to be very, mandatory. Where if you are working for the government and you are not vaccinated, you can actually lose your job. So this is, I see happening in France, that this is going to be happening. And I see that in terms of the forest fires as well in France, there's going to be a lot of forest fires. This is going to be enormous, and this is going to be increasing rapidly. I know that we have had some forest fires in France already. In 2026, there's going to be more forest fires because the plan to actually control humans through the vaccination is actually ongoing, and they want to actually use the forest fires to clear, like I said before in my previous predictions, the frequency for them to be able to control us. And I see this actually happening, and they will say that the forest fires is based on accident, but I don't see that it was based on accident. I see that this was carefully planned and implemented. Let us move on to the next question. Next question, I have Jane McDonald. Jane says that, sorry, David, I feel this government is so corrupt and we don't get the services we need. Also, she's talking about Scotland because I had a little bit of comments or chat with her, and then I see she's saying that the surgery waiting list are 2 years and more for replacement hip. Wait 2 weeks to see a doctor. Not enough dentists. Will SNP still be in government after next years? I feel bad for you guys in terms of your health sector, and then you being on a waiting list for more than 2 years just to get surgery taken or being taken care of by, you know, being taken care of by health professionals within your country is very, very sad. But in terms of SMP still being in power, let me vibrate to, Scotland as, and see what I can pick up in that regard. So looking at Scotland, SMP, um, I still see that there's going to be a lot of people going to vote for SNP, and the SNP will win the May. I see that the election is going to be held in May 2026, and I see that the SNP all won that election. Um, SNP won that election. Let me see if I can pick up how many times in terms of number of years before your elections are being held. I'm looking at it. I'm getting a feeling of five fingers, so I think it's 5 years. So that means that you normally do your elections every 5 years. So I see the Labour Party winning the 2031 May elections, but in 2026, I still see that the SNP is going to be winning that election, unfortunately, for next year. Let us move on to the next question. So I have No Shawan here. No Shawan says that, hi, David, thank you for answering my previous question. Here's another one. So I see that he has four different questions. So we are going to answer it one after the other. First question says that, will there be a new backup currency to the gold, and will the US dollar decline? So the US dollar, in terms of the US dollar declining, I see that the US dollar is going to decline, but it's going to be on a slow pace because there has been a decline of the US dollar previously already. And if the US dollar is going to actually decline, it's going to be on a very slow pace. This is what I see happening, that the US dollar is going to decline on a very slow pace. And then in terms of a backup to the dollar, I don't see that the US dollar is going to be replaced by any other currency at the moment. I don't see this happening, but I feel that in decades to come, I don't see any currency replacing the US dollar. And then I already said that we are going to be moving to digital currency. So I don't see anything in terms of replacing the US dollar at the moment. I don't see that happening in the interim or in the near future at this moment happening. Let's move on to the next question. Okay, his next question is that do you see, I said, what do you see about Xi Jinping? So in terms of Xi Jinping, I already made predictions about Xi Jinping that he is a little bit sick, and is not feeling that well. And I already predicted that he's going to be leaving office because of his illness. And then that's what I see about him. That is the vibration I get about him. But I want to ask a question, right? Put it in the comment section if you have watched it to this end. What do you think the world will become like if Xi Jinping is not in power, right? If Putin is not in power, if Zelensky is not in power, and if Trump is not in power, how will the world be like? Put that in the comment section. I want to hear your thoughts and then your comments in terms of how do you think the world is going to be like? Will there still be this conflict? What will happen if those four, fantastic presidents are not in power at the moment? Let's move on to the next question. Can you make predictions for Ireland? I think I already made predictions for Ireland already. Let me see if I can still vibrate to anything that I see about Ireland at this moment. Um, Ireland. I only picking up in terms of what I have not predicted. I'm only picking up, I think, like system disruption at the moment for Ireland. And I don't know how intensive it is going to be. I don't know if it's banking or has something to do with something else, but I feel like it's going to be like a GPS distraction or something like that with Ireland. And that's what I see happening. And that's what I'm picking up. I'm also picking up strangely that there's maybe in the near future there's going to be maybe like a female president in Ireland. This is, I don't know if it is because, when I was trying to documenting my annual predictions that I normally do for many countries, when I was picking up in terms of the vibration, I was feeling that there's going to be a lot of female presidents emerging. So I don't know, maybe that is one of the things that I'm feeling in terms of, there's going to be female presidents emerging coming forward. So I see there's going to be a female president for Ireland, and then their system is going to be, being distracted, destruction of their systems. If you want to hear some more of the Ireland prediction, I think you have to watch some of my other videos and you can get some of those predictions. Let's move on to the next question. I think he says that will Meghan and Harry have another baby? Meghan and Harry, let me pick up any vibration from them. I don't see any other baby coming forward. I'm having a feeling that their relationship or their marriage is not going to be working. I'm having a feeling. I think maybe that is the why they are bringing out rumors in terms of having a baby, because most of the time when your marriage is having or is going on a decline, you normally want to have an intimacy to amend your marriage. So I think that is a step in the right direction in terms of Megan trying to make sure that their marriage works. I think they're having complications. That's more than picking up. They're having complications and they want their marriage to work. So that is what I'm picking up currently in terms of Harry and Meghan at the moment. And I don't see any other new baby coming forward. Let us move on to the next question. We have Diana here says that if pandemics are an issue, then why is Orange totally dismantling our CDC? That is dangerous. And in fact, RFK Jr. is suppressing all kinds of diseases that are on the rise across the US. He said, any thoughts? And says that we need top scientists in this country and we also need tested vaccines. So they have done away with mandatory vaccines for children in Florida that will absolutely cause death. I'm very worried. Any thoughts will be so appreciated. So Diana, I think the question is not really I think is to me it's not really clear. I think you need my thoughts in terms of, if scientists will retest, vaccines and stuff. But this is what I need to let you know in terms of what I'm picking up. I already said in my previous predictions that I think scientists will be controlled. So whether they want to retest vaccines um, to make sure that the vaccines are safe or not, I think that it cannot be achieved based on the fact that they are under control. And here's a case that I feel some sorry for them, because if you are in the medical field, it's very crucial because most of them is going to be controlled, especially the top ones are going to be controlled because you take instructions from your superior. So it's going to be very very difficult in the coming years for us in terms of medical fields and scientists and stuff. So I'm thinking and I'm picking up that it will not going to be retested correctly. What we are looking for, we're not going to get it. The health system is there, to especially do a lot of harm to us than good, mostly. But we get some other good scientists out there that gives us what we actually want. But I think that they are going to be controlled, and that is all that I can say about that, because these are sensitive information, sensitive topics to talk about. Let's move on to the next question. So I have Fofi here. Say hi, David. I know you have made some predictions about Australia in recent video, but I was wondering if you could specifically look at the terrible crime which has overtaken Melbourne. Innocent people are dying in home invasion and getting attacked by machetes on the streets. Theft is rampant and people are frightening. The state government appear unable and unwilling to take any real action. Do you have any idea what has caused the terrible darkness, and will it improve anytime soon? So let me vibrate into Australia again in terms of Melbourne crimes happening, home invasion. What can I see? What can I see? What can I hear? I think I think that in terms of the home invasion, I'm looking at something like people do not have defense mechanism in place. Like their defense equipment has been taken away. I don't know if this has happened in Australia where, you know, equipment that people can use to defend themselves. The government has confiscated those, have taken those from individuals. And I'm feeling a vibration that the thugs, the gun, gangs and stuff are using this as a retaliation to tell the government that how can we protect, or how can we protect ourselves if our defense mechanism in terms of equipment has been taken away from us. We become like hopeless and useless. And this is a form of retaliation, telling the government that give us back our equipment that we can use to defend ourselves. Because if not, there's going to be home invasion and people who are in their homes are unable to defend themselves. I think that is the reason why this crime or this violence has actually been rampant in Melbourne. And this is what I'm picking up based on that. If you can confirm that individuals within Melbourne has had their equipment or their defense equipment. You know what I'm talking about. I can't mention those names, but their defense equipment have been taken away from them, and they are unable to defend themselves. If you can be able to, clarify in the comment section, I'll be very, very grateful. Let us move on to the next question. I have Sobia. Sobia say, will the conflict between Rwanda and DR Congo end? Will the Congolese people finally experience peace in the Bukavu region? So the conflict between Rwanda and DR Congo, you see, first of all, let me say this. These are some of the reasons in terms of the conflict. These conflicts are some of the reasons why those top people in power wants to actually be able to control us. I don't know if they want to use it as a mechanism to stop conflict or the mechanism to worsen conflict between us, but that's what I also. And then the funny thing is that the honest truth is that there's going to be a kill switch within this thing that is going to be able to control us. That is my fear right now, and I know for a fact that there may be something is going to backfire in this kind of a thing. But let's come back to the Rwanda and then DR Congo conflict. I don't see the conflict ending here in 2025. I don't see that happening. Maybe I'm picking something. Maybe I see something like a peace treaty is wants to be said, or a peace deal wants to be agreed upon. But I just see that there's fire put in that peace treaty, and it doesn't hold anymore. Like they are trying to have a peace deal, but the peace deal doesn't hold. It's like parties do not agree, or something happens, and then it becomes void. And then that's what I'm picking up. So the they may work something out, but I see maybe end of 2026. I see something end of 2026 where something like that or something of that sort is going to be worked out. And I don't see that for 2025 at this moment. I think that is what I'm picking up in terms of that. And I also see that in terms of Bukavu, I see that Rwanda will take control of that side or that region. It will be in the care of Rwanda people. I don't know if you want to confirm that for me. I think it was still going to be in the it looks like they took that region, and it will still remain that it's going to be theirs. That's what I'm picking up in terms of Rwanda and then DR Congo conflict. Let's move on to the next question. Debbie says that will the current New Zealand government win the next election? The current government in New Zealand is following in Trump's footsteps. They are changing much legislation that targets the indigenous of New Zealand in a very negative way. So um let me pick up what I can pick up in terms of that. Um, but I think I'll need more time to look into New Zealand. I think the last time I made some predictions about New Zealand, I think you will need to watch that video as well. But in terms of the election coming up, um, yeah, to be honest, I'm not picking anything strong in terms of the election coming up. I'm not picking anything strong there. Um, Okay, so I think that with the election in New Zealand, I think there's going to be a change. I think there's going to be a change. I'm feeling that there's going to be a change in the government. That's what I'm picking up right now, but I'm not seeing things clearly. I see there's a handshake, there is a change of baton, and that's what I see in New Zealand at the moment. But it looks like it's going to be tight. It's not going to be easy to take that. But I think I will try to do maybe a more clear prediction for New Zealand in terms of their next election and see what I can pick up. But that's what I'm picking up. I'm picking up there's going to be a new change. I don't know why I'm not seeing New Zealand clearly. Um, but that's what I see. I see like a baton change. For me, if I want to do prediction, I want to give more detailed. But here is a case that I'm not getting it since I'm doing it live, not prepared, and I'm not picking that up clearly. And I'm coming back to the States today as well. I've been traveling for almost more than 4 months, so my routine in terms of things that I touch and things that I do has changed a little bit. So doing this live, it's a little bit difficult. So I'm coming back to the state, and you see that my setup will change. I've been traveling for more than 4 months, so um, thank you guys for staying with me and then building this channel together. So I will do another prediction. I'll maybe put it in our next Answer Monday and see if I can pick up who's going to win the next election. If you can ask this question again in this comment section of this video, and I'll pick it up and then I'll do another one and pick. But I see that there's going to be a baton chain. That's what I see. That's what I'm picking up. But it's not clear, so I'm not concise with what I'm feeling. But that's what I see currently. Let us move on to the next question. We have DJ says, I always had a feeling there's a scandal waiting to come out about Keir Starmer. Can you see this? Great channel, by the way. Yes. Okay. So I think this channel is known for Keir Starmer kind of prediction, where I've had a lot of predictions about Keir Starmer, and I've already predicted that there's going to be a scandal that's going to come out for Keir Starmer, and this will push him out of power. And I see that happening as well. So I see Keir Starmer being pushed out of power, and there is going to be a scandal that's going to be coming. I think I made a prediction that October thereabout, the Keir Starmer stuff will escalate tremendously, and he's going to be pushed out of power. So that's what I see for Keir Starmer happening. I don't know what they do behind closed doors, to make some things in terms of the elements, the natural elements to delay in that sort. You can change things that the elements or nature has about you or come to pass based on your decisions that you make. But I see Keir Starmer is not going to be able to dodge this, blow, and it's going to hit him, and then there's going to be a scandal that's going to come out, and also a secret about him is going to explode or come to the surface, and it's going to be pushed out of power. This is what I see for Keir's Starmer. Let's move on to the next question. So we have Love here. Love says, another clarification, please, regarding the pandemic. So the animals are only an issue because they vaccinated them, correct? If I have chickens at home that I raise by myself, this will still be safe to eat, or even wild animals like game, deer, rabbit. Thank you. Okay, so yes, I think if you rear your own or raise your own animals at home and they are not vaccinated through the pandemic stuff, they are still safe, and they are going to still be safe for you to consume if that is your route. That is all. But the animals are only not safe based on the fact that it is the vaccination. So right now, all meats are safe based on the fact that um, you know the vaccination has not started, or we have not had any news of vaccination and stuff like that. So we are still safe at this moment. It's just that like a precaution of trying to stay away from it so that when it happens, you will not be craving for meats because you have already tried and then you have trained yourself not to crave for those. So that's it. Yes. So yes, it's based on the fact that they are being vaccinated. So if you have any at home, you are safe to eat them. And I will encourage, if you like meat, you can start raising them yourself at home as well. You can start doing that as well. Let us move on to the next question. So we have Evie. Evie says that, hi David, do you know if Nigel Farage will be the next prime UK Prime Minister, and will there be an early election or early general elections? Let me see what I can pick up in terms of Nigel Farage, and stuff. So in terms of Nigel Farage, I don't see him as the next prime minister. Uh, uh, it looks like he was not even running the race of prime minister when it comes to that point. But I see a new general election happening. Like I said, Keir Starmer is going to move out, and then I see that Yvette Cooper is going to step in temporarily before the general election, or she's going to step in. I don't feel like she was reelected, but I saw that she felt in the shoes, and then she resigned like in a short while. That's what I'm picking up. And then there was a general election, but I don't see that it's going to be Nigel Farage. I will make another prediction about who's going to win after Yvette Cooper, but I want my predictions to be consistent to come through before I make those predictions. I don't want to get off my head or get ahead of myself and then make predictions whilst our previous predictions has not, come through yet. So let's get there, and I'll make predictions of who is going to win. I have who is going to win, but let's make sure that what nature has for those events comes through, and then we can be able to make those predictions based on what I see and what I hear. So yeah, Nigel Farage will not be the next prime minister, and I don't actually even see him in the race for prime minister election and in those general elections. Let me move on to the next question. So I have Pan David saying that, will Russia attempt to invade Estonia or cause some sort of disruption within that country? Thanks for the interesting content. So I do not see, I don't know if you are talking about 2025, but in 2025, I don't see any invasion in Estonia by Russia. But I don't know. Let me vibrate Estonia. I'm picking certain things funny, but since I'm answering your question, I cannot make other prediction. I need to answer the question. So I don't see anything in terms of invasion by Russia, but I think that late of 2027, because I'm seeing that vibration a little bit. So when have vibration a little bit about this, it means that it is the end of the year, around the end of 2027. So I see end of 2027, beginning of 2028, that there's going to be an invasion in Estonia happening. But I'm not seeing that maybe it's Russia, but I think there's going to be an invasion of Estonia in 2027, end of 2027, beginning of 2028. Let me move on to the next question. I have David here. David says that, hi David, you talked about gas and oil going up starting this month. When will the price start going down in the US and the rest of the world? I think with this prediction, I, I don't know if oil is actually going up at the moment. I think oil is going down. So let's wait till my prediction come through where oil is actually going up and it's becoming unbearable for people. Then I can predict about when it's going to come down. I like my previous predictions to be confirmed before I make another prediction, because it's nature makes it happens that if this happened, this is going to happen. So you cannot move ahead of yourselves when this has not happened. So let's confirm that this has happened, and then I can predict what next happens. Because when I move out of my hell, because here's a case that when the thing changes, nature will have a different outcome for what is going to come out. So let me not move out ahead of myself. So let's wait for gas, oil to go up, and then I can actually predict when it's going to come down. But for now, I think I'm hearing news. It could be wrong that I'm hearing news that maybe it's coming down already. That yet. So let's wait for oil and gas to go up, and then we can make a prediction of when it's going to actually come down at this moment. Let's move on to the next question. So next question, let sleeping dogs lie. Do you think Trump is in the Epstein files? So first of all, he is not in the Epstein files, but there's going to be conversation that is going to discussions that is going to be rising that he is actually in those files, but he's not in those files because he's going to be one of the main keepers to actually release those files, the actual files. You know, they have fake files and then the actual files. So there's going to be in the actual files, Trump's name is not in those lists. He's not in those lists. And I can confirm that he's not in those lists. But there's going to be rumors that he possibly is in those lists, but he's not in those lists. It'll come out that he's actually not in those lists and those things were fabricated. Let's move on to the next question. So the next question, I have Jane here. Jane say, "Hi David, thank you for answering my question. I wondered regarding the pandemic, will it be safe to eat all dairy, eggs, butter, milk, cheese, etc.?" I think this is not actually a psychic kind of a question. This is more of a scientist kind of a question. Question is in terms of if chicken is vaccinated, can their eggs also be affected by the vaccine? I think that's the question. Or if cow is actually vaccinated, can their milk be affected by the vaccine? I think that's where the question is about the butter made out of it can it be affected by the vaccine? I think this is more of a scientist. So if there is a scientist who is actually watching the channel, can you actually respond and let us know if it is possible that if a host or a parent host is vaccinated, can their offsprings or what they produce also be like have those vaccines within those offsprings? And I will be very grateful if you can give us some insights on that. Let us move on to the next question. So I have Bentley. Bentley says, "Hi David, for next Monday, what do you see about Jamaican PM and or Iceland?" Oh, with Jamaican PM, let me see what I can vibrate in terms of that. Um, I I'm picking up there's going to be a lot of pressure on the Jamaican Prime Minister at the moment, and I see that he has a lot of plans for the country, but the plans will not be implemented. That's what I'm picking up. I think he has plans for crime, he has plans for violence, and I'm seeing that he's unable to implement those plans. And I'm seeing that he doesn't have a lot of numbers around him to help him pass certain bills and pass certain laws within his government. So he will be under a lot of pressure and a lot of scrutiny, and he will not be able to pass certain things that he wants. But I see that he will be able to reduce taxes in Jamaica, and this is what I see happening for him. But I may make another, since the video is taking that long, I may make another separate predictions about him. And I think I'm picking up his name whilst I'm saying I'm on a high frequency right now, so I pick a lot of things very, very clearly. I'm seeing that his name is Andrew. Oh yeah, if his name is, if you can, confirm that for me. I think his name is Andrew, and then I'm seeing his last name start with an L or something like that, and that's what I'm picking up. Something that in that regard. So if you can confirm that that is the Prime Minister for Jamaica at the moment, but I see there's going to be a lot of pressure on him, and he will not be able to deliver as he promised. There's a lot of things that are going to be issued. People will put pressure on him. This is some of the reason why is when you vote someone in power, you have to vote people he can work with in power as well, so that he will have a smooth sailing in his, administration. So that I think that is some of the difficulties he's going to be having at the moment. So I think we are done with Answer Monday today. If you want to watch some of my other videos on Answer Monday, click here or click here so that you can watch the other episodes of Answer Monday.